Hey, come on now. Hey, y'all already know what this is. First things first, God did this. Don't get mad with us. I'm your humble host, your man, your myth, your legend, Eric Knight, and we got the one man and the only man that can check you into the Heartbreak Hotel. And you already know what it is. It's the Heartbreak Prince. Look, we just finished watching Stand and Deliver. I know there are people that are probably still leaving the stadium now, walking to going to go see WrestleMania 4, 41, night one. So let's go ahead and kick it off. And let's just start it off and talk about what was going on with this crazy, crazy PLE that we call Stand and Deliver. Okay, look. First match, we started off the pre-show. They had it with the tag team match with, the Meta Girls. Roxanne and Cora Jade, Fatal Influence, and even Tatum Paxley and Gigi Dolan. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I enjoyed this match a lot. Was I upset about a few things? Of course I was. You know I was, because when I seen the Meta Girls lose, being the first ones to be eliminated, yeah, I was a little upset. And then after that, to have Roxanne walk out and leave Cora Jade, then what did we do that for? Why did we have the Meta Girls leave? That was one of my biggest gripes I had said while I was in a TikTok live today. I said, man, I don't get that. I don't like that. I don't like seeing that for the Big Lash. I don't like seeing that for Mr. Carr. And I thought that hurt a little bit. But it's all right. We've seen Gigi Dolan and Tatum Paxley finally get that time, finally get that shot for them to face whoever wins on night two. So we'll see how that happens. Heartbreak Prince, what were your thoughts on that match, man? What did you think about that? Because I know how you feel about your girl Lash, man.
Man, so listen, I tuned in late. So by the time I turned on the TV for the PLE, the match was mostly done. And I'm sitting there like, where's Last Legends? Where's the Meta Girls? Didn't see them. I turned on like 12:57 and the match was already gone. And I'm like, I thought they was in this match, and I couldn't believe that they had been eliminated that early. So I have to go back and watch this daggone fiasco unfold, especially when it comes to the Meta Girls. And I mean, it's just terrible to see that they were on such an ascent just a few months ago, and now it's like back-to-back matches that they've been involved in. You know, they've gotten the boot early and taken the L. So I got to figure this out, man. That's one thing about Stand and Deliver already that that disappoints me is that the Meta Girls they didn't get their respect, but man, was everything else yes hook it.
Come on now, because we had to. We had to go to the next match because the next one was, you already know what it was. My man Ricky Saints, and of course Ego Ethan Page. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I really enjoyed this match. This was a great match to start off the night, to kick off the PLE. Not gonna lie, was there a few times I thought Ethan Page was gonna win it? Yeah, you bet I did. You bet you thought I did. I know they ain't who I think it is.
You ask and you shall receive. It's
on the ride.
Mr. Exclusive himself. It's got to be an exclusive right here.
Look. Hey, look, I'm not going to stay on here long because greatness is happening in front of you guys. Y'all just make sure that y'all are tuned in to the Exclusive Night podcast at all time. My fellas are killing it, so y'all make sure that y'all enjoy this, but a great pay-per-view. And guess what? WrestleMania, you got a lot to live up to tonight. A lot to live up to tonight. So y'all enjoy it. Y'all go ahead and kill that thing, fellas.
Hey, thank you, Mr. Exclusive.
Thank you, Mr. Exclusive. Thanks for popping in. Yeah, we can't wait to see you. I can't wait to see you later on tonight. He's coming over tonight to watch. Yeah.
Oh man, but yeah, that match with Ricky Saints and Ethan Page was, A1 banger. A couple times I thought Ethan Page was going to win it. I wouldn't have been mad about it, but again, I'm glad that they didn't. Definitely not going to that shiny new toy theory as they're doing, or really bouncing the titles back too many times. So I really enjoyed this match. Definitely a 10 out of 10 banger. Show what Ricky Saints can do in the ring. Love to see it, man. What were your thoughts on that, man? What'd you think?
Man, I thought this was a phenomenal way to kick off the night for standing, or the day for Stand and Deliver. You had, Ego, you had Ricky Saints, they got in the ring and they put together an excellent show. And it was great because it really did make the North American title feel like prestigious, feel like it was worth fighting for. And they just, I mean, they put on a match and they just delivered. And Ricky, he showed his moxie in this match because Ethan Page did not give him this at all. He did not give this match to him. And Ricky had to reach deep down and he had to take it. And he did. And,
Pause.
it was just pause. Thank you. Thank you, E. But yeah, it was great, man. You could tell just from that first match that the energy in this PLE was there and that it was going to deliver. And I just thought it kicked off the PLE in the best possible way. And each match, I was like, okay, can this match be better than the next? And I just have to say the talent in NXT just straight out delivered. And I mean, it's hard. So at the end, I got a question for you about this PLE. And for those that are, watching us and checking us out live, hey, put it down in the comments because I want to know what was the best match of this PLE at Stand and Deliver to you guys. And E, if you could tell me what your best match was in this PLE.
It's tough,
but we can save it for the end. We can save it for the end because we got stuff to go through. Yeah.
We'll save it. So what was the match that we had next? Because for some reason, I mean, all this heat we're talking about, we might as well talk about heat, something that I think maybe you should talk about this one, Heartbreak Prince, because you kind of called this from beginning. You was already kind of pushing for Hank and Tank, the story that was going on. So I'm gonna let you go ahead and speak your piece and speak your truth on this.
Man, let me tell you something. Right here. Hank and Tank, man. This story, we talked about this and how, just the way they did this story, it wasn't anything crazy. It was just a very simple story, but it was just well done, man. Well executed with Hank and Tank. Like I said, for weeks prior, if you follow NXT, watching them lose, and then they put it together in this gauntlet match that happened on NXT, this past week to get them into the tag team title match, and they delivered, man. It's like you watch them learn to win. They got their first victory, and then they come back and they get a second victory, all in this gauntlet, and you just know that the momentum is there. You just know that the momentum is getting ready to carry them through Stand and Deliver. And the energy again in this match through the roof. You have Fraxium, right? One of the most dominant tag teams in NXT and have been holding the belts for months now and putting together A1 bangers every time, they are in the ring. You knew this was going to be a difficult task for a team that was just starting to learn what it takes to win. And I love the little small Booker T homage we had with the tape across the nose on what was it, Hank? And I mean, it was just great, man. And then for Hank and Tank to win and really, stake their claim as NXT champions, it was kind of bittersweet. I will say that because I also got this feeling that Fraxium, this is it for Fraxium. They get to go and make that leap, but the match itself delivered. The energy was there, the crowd was there. Hank and Tank, that they just delivered. Fraxium delivered, and they made it something that was definitely worth a PLE for Stand and Deliver. So yeah, I'm just too excited about it because, man, this pay-per-view, I mean, I'm just literally in the room watching it and just screaming at the different matches that were taking place and the finishes, and it was just, man, it was magic out there, man. It really was.
No, yeah, it really was, man. I think, I feel like every time, whether it's NXT or just Raw and your AEW Dynamite Collision, doesn't matter. I'm always going to be locked in, right? But for some reason, when it comes to this type of the season right now, and when it comes to Stand and Deliver, they do exactly that. And honestly, this match with Hank and Tank, oh, amazing. A1. When I seen this man, Hank, go through the ropes and go full-fledged almost head first into the announce table and slid.
Hey.
I said, my God, dangerous. But I loved it. It was a great spot. I really thought at that point, I said, oh, maybe it's over for Hank and Tank. Maybe this is the time. Maybe they might not get it. And they overcame that and really did it, man. I think they told that story so well. I think they told that story with them winning even after when they won the titles, and they was talking to dang, I don't even know homegirl's name on there. I almost said Kathy Kelly, but I know it's not Kathy.
Yeah, and I can't think of it right now
Yeah,
myself,
I
so I
don't know
can't
why
help you.
she's the blogger. I can't think of her name, but even when they was talking to her, I mean, just I can feel the energy off of them. And I had went
Yeah,
on I was
yeah.
on the same TikTok live with a few people on there, and I was saying, I was like, all the tag teams, this is the
Follow us on
only
TikTok, by
tag
the way.
team. Yes, we're growing on
Hey,
TikTok. But out of
hey,
all the tag teams, they were like one of the only ones that have an actual story to them. And I
yeah,
was like, I
yeah,
think this is due for them to win it. And
yeah.
just like you called it, Heartbreak Prince, it happened, man. It
Yeah,
happened.
man. Like I said, I keep saying it and I can't say it enough. I really do feel like Sean has, his finger on the pulse of wrestling and just being able to do things to get you invested into, these stories. I mean, I can't think of a match on this card that did not have buy-in, that did not
Yeah.
have investment, that did not have a story behind it that was like, hey, this is PLE worthy, and like I said, they just deliver match after match after match.
After match, man. So we know we got to go to that next match. The match that we was talking about for a while. Match that we really had some of our favorites on there. And honestly, in my opinion, did Lonnie deliver? Of course she did. Did Lonnie show up? Of course she did. Was Lonnie the MVP? Yeah. And so
No,
was what and was
no, I'm
no,
answering that
maybe
for you.
no. So you know
There
what?
can only be one.
Only one. And one soul was the one, the sole survivor,
Three
Soul Luca.
bodies. She caught
Three.
three bodies
I'm
tonight.
not
But
gonna
I'm sorry.
lie, those
Let me let you have it. I'm
no,
gonna
look,
let you
I
have it.
get it because this is your girl. Your girl finally won it. It was different when Lonnie got it. I
Yeah,
had a whole joy for it, but I gotta let you get your time in. I gotta let you speak your piece. What are your thoughts? Because I got a few things about this ladder match I really enjoyed, but I
yeah.
really got to get your thoughts on it because I really feel like this was today. This was your PLE to really celebrate because all your people really got the dub tonight, and this looked
Yeah,
really good. What's your thoughts,
yeah.
Heartbreak Prince, man? What you think?
Man, I am just so glad to see Soul win a title in NXT. For a while now, that has been my girl. I've been pushing for Soul, and I've wanted her to just stake her claim and get the recognition that she deserves. So before the show started, they had ran like this little tally of like who they thought, like I guess, had the best chance of winning the Women's North American Championship or whatever. And I saw in there it was a close tally between Sol Ruka and Lonnie. And I said, oh man, of course they're gonna put Eric's girl against my girl, and how's this gonna like come out? Like who's gonna come out on top? Because Soul was at a 27.75, and I think Lonnie was at like 26 point
25.
something,
Yeah,
25.
yeah, but
It
so
was
was the
so
winner though.
close. It was so close. But then the match came and it happened. And the one thing I didn't like, the one thing I did not like was when they came out and Soul was
Oh,
not coming out to her own
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah, I said,
I
oh
said the
man.
same thing.
I'm like, so it kind of like, so I had this excitement going because I'm like, okay, so the crowd is saying that Soul is their favorite. They want to see Soul do this. But then when Soul came out and it was still in that same
It was so weird
thing with
because they were the
with
only
like
ones
Daria,
that came out
I don't
together.
know. But when they got into the match and they climbed the ladder and they were facing each other and Soul, went on and started throwing the blows.
Mhm.
I thought, okay, this is it. This is where it happens. And all the two things I wanted to see, well, the one thing mainly is the Soul Snatcher. But the two things that I wanted to see was a Soul Snatcher and a Soul Snatcher off the ladder. But Soul delivered that. We got the Soul Snatcher off the ladder, and then she doubled down. She took two more bodies. She snatched two more souls. And then climbed the ring and got the belt. The crowd goes wild. I'm like, yo, this is magic. This is stand and deliver. And my girl Soul did exactly what we discussed and what we talked about. I said Soul needs to walk into this match, walk into this PLE. She needs to stand and she needs to deliver. And she did it. And she also caught three bodies on her way to the women's North American Championship
Champion.
title. Let's go.
Yeah, man.
Let's go.
I loved what they did with it, man. That was the only, I think I agree with you. I think my only gripe was like I said, why is Soul coming out with Zarya? I said, I
Yeah.
don't like this. I
Yeah.
said, man, I don't like how this is looking. And I said, man, out of everybody else, y'all the only two that came out together. I said, you don't think people would have wanted to be on the wave with Soul? I said, why we do this? Why we come out with Zarya's music? I said, it's all right, whatever. Because at the end of the day, Soul got the dub, and Soul became the actual Soul survivor and actually won it all. I'm proud of Soul, honestly. I think she deserves it. I think this is great for her, and I wouldn't be surprised if Zarya turns on it not too long after this. So
Yeah.
definitely from the way they kind of had that angle and looked at her.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's soon to bound to happen. So
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah. I mean, when you sitting at the top, man, everybody's gunning for you. So I mean, that was the thing that Soul, had to understand and know, especially when she's competing in a match like this, and when you climb the ladder and you take the championship. I mean, she's ready. She's prepared. Soul, I think Soul can handle it, and then it would be nice to go ahead and add Zarya's Soul to the to Soul Ruka's collection as well. So go ahead and snatch that too. Let's go. just rip them out.
I think too with the Soul and Zarya thing, I think it's gonna work because so many times when it was them backstage and they was talking about that ladder match, every time Zarya kept saying, "Oh, like I'm gonna win," like kept making it, always kept trying to downplay Soul. Yeah. So I think now this could really tie into something really interesting. Like, oh, remember you thought you was gonna win, or like I don't know. We'll see where it goes with that. I think this is gonna be something good. They're gonna cook up with that.
Yeah,
for sure.
Definitely
for sure. And then of course, we had to go to the next match, man. Honestly, I was almost sad, man. I was hurt to see it, but it's stand and deliver, and I ain't gonna lie, Stacks and the D'Angelo family, they've been doing stuff for so many years now, and I guess now it's time for the underboss, Stacks, to do his own thing. Turns on Tony D'Angelo, the Don of NXT, the Don of WWE, the Don of the world. In my opinion, Tony D'Angelo really just, I don't know, man. My man Tony, he's not in the mode like he used to, man. And honestly, you can see what's going on with him. From everything that's going on with Stacks, with the Tony D'Angelo family, my man losing the North American title. I don't know what's next for my man Tony D. But not gonna lie, this match wasn't bad. I thought this match was all right. I thought it was a solid, great match. The only reason why I say that because we had the guys from Dark State, and most of the guys were really good in that match. I'd be lying if I said they weren't. Osiris, one that was extremely well. Definitely stood out to me from Dark State, in my opinion. I thought he did tremendous, had great spots, looked good, looked like he was a natural pro. And I thought he did well. But mainly, of course, just seeing Tony D'Angelo and the whole D'Angelo family, I think that was good. I think they told the story. I thought it was coming. I didn't think it was going to happen now, but hey, it's stand and deliver season. So if you want to give people a big shock factor, why not do it today? Heartbreak Prince, what are your thoughts about the Don and the D'Angelo family and everything that's going on with them in Dark State?
Well, I mean, if you've been watching, the Xclusive Knights podcast for any time now, for a fact that, this is all Tony D right here. I'm part of the family right here. And, to see Snacks doing do what he did today. I was like, Don, get on the phone, call me up, I'm coming. Because we got to handle this business immediately. Because I couldn't believe it. But E, let me be real. That's how I was feeling, man. When I saw what I saw take place in the ring, I said, Snacks, you 2-time. Pelican Bay. The whole Denzel training day was coming out. I mean, I couldn't believe it. I said, oh, you disloyal Stacks is all I'm gonna say, man. But to be serious, what I loved about this was that they were not afraid, and I was talking to Mr. Exclusive about this just a little bit. They weren't afraid to start another story in the middle of a PLE. And that's what I like. That's what I enjoyed. I'm like, oh man, we getting a whole nother story because they kept kind of playing on this a little bit in the ring. Like, I love when matches are telling stories, and we talked about that on the last Heartbreak. when matches are telling stories, and we were getting that story in the ring, and you can kind of get this vibe that something was off, something was going to happen because Tony D and Stacks, they kept going back and forth. Stacks would say, "Hey, I got an idea," but and then the Don is like, "Hey, I didn't call that play. We're gonna stick and do this my way." But with the crowbars, and they toss them out, and then they kind of hug, and then it's like, but Stacks is still standing in the ring with the crowbar in his hand, and Tony D turns his back, and like the crowd's like, "Oh," because you see shades of Shield happening right then and there. Here comes the crowbar to the back, but then he gives the crowbar to the ref, and you're like, and as soon as you do that, as soon as you take that exhale, like, okay, we good, we back in business. Here comes the boot, between the legs to Tony D. And the Don drops to his knees. And right then and there, I was on speed dial, dialing up the Don, saying, "Hey, I will report for business on Tuesday because we got to take care of Stacks. This underboss didn't deserve the title. He disrespected the Don on a PLE when we were supposed to be standing and delivering against Dark State." And it just, it's sad to see, but it's also exciting because when Tuesday gets here, I want to know what is the reason. What is the reason for this season in Stacks' life? And, I want the Don to have his get back. And I think it's going to be a great story where we always talk about the long-term storytelling, right? And I think this is where this is going. And I'm interested to see how the Don goes about handling Stacks in this business that took place. But for Dark State, hey, more power to him.
Good.
It kind of went as expected because honestly, I really didn't expect Dark State to take an L in this. I really didn't because you're trying to build them up, and you can't do that by having them take an L in a match like this early because they just really been introduced to us, and we're still trying to get a feel of how we accept them. Because some of us feel like, hey, they're a knockoff Shield, and then some of us feel like, hey, this is a great thing. But them winning, that wasn't a surprise. I think the biggest surprise was just that Stacks decided to turn on the boss during that match. And honestly, for a second, I thought they were going to be going like you were talking about, where we were finally going to get the like reveal of like who was the head of Dark State. And I thought, oh snap, is this Stacks? Is Stacks part of this? That's what I was thinking for a second. I was like, oh my gosh, we're about to get this. But that's not where they went. But overall, man, that match was still a banger. Again, every match really just built upon the next one. And Tony D and the family, that match with Dark State, they did a hell of a job, especially since Dark State finally got to kind of display, their talents. But hey, Tony D, give me a call. I'm coming. Just give me a call. I want to be part of the family. Bring me in. Bring me in. You need a new underboss. It sounds like the job is open. I'm ready, Tony.
It's ready, man. It's the Tony D'Angelo, the D'Angelo family.
Yeah.
Oh man, but they constantly delivered, and of course, they delivered with this fatal 4-way match. My God, you want to talk about story? You want to talk about aura? You want to talk about how good is this getting? Pure example right here. Every single spot delivered. Every single woman in this match proved that they are main roster ready, that they can go at Mania. So, like, honestly, the way that that fatal 4-way match, give me something like that at Mania. Honestly, again, the way that they did Stand and Deliver, WrestleMania Night 1 and 2 has to over-deliver because of how high they have set the bar at Stand and Deliver from NXT.
Yes, sir.
Honestly,
Yes, sir.
I mean, this fatal 4-way match with the women, insane, went crazy. Jada Parker getting the whole triple. It was like a triple spot when she did the little double,
Get it, Parker.
Crazy. Man, and honestly, to hear the crowd, when they just kept saying, Miss Parker, I said, man, this girl is over. She's got the aura on her. And we talk about that so importantly. Having that aura as a wrestler is probably top tier king of a key that you need to be one of the top stars. And she's got it, man. She really had it. I love the spots that they did. Stephanie Valkyria, over-delivered. I kept saying, I was like, maybe he's going to jail. But to be honest, the fact that they're still keeping it on Stephanie Valkyria, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. I have no problems with that. I think Stephanie Vaquer is going to go crazy. Um, do I see Julia trying to get maybe another title shot? Probably, yeah. But I would, I mean, honestly, not to say I didn't like Julia as an NXT champion, but I mean, when you got the La Primera, when you got the woman that's got her own aura, you can't. I don't want to replace her. And don't get me wrong, Jordan Grace, I would have loved to see her as the champ, but that would have fell into our shiny new toy theory. You don't want to do that for Jordan Grace. And also, again, I'm okay if Jordan Grace would have won it, but we don't need it. She doesn't need it. Not right now. Julia, maybe, not really. I don't think she even needs it right now. But who would I thought would have needed it the most? Miss Parker. But hey, Miss Parker's got plenty of time. It's still early. And again, she's been killing it at these PLEs. And again, this is what her third title match that she's gotten. So maybe she might go for the North American title. I'm okay with that. Go up against Soul. Maybe if Lonnie does win it back from Soul months later, I'd love to see Miss Parker come back for it again. And maybe, hopefully, she could go up against her and Lonnie. We'll see. Heartbreak Prince, what are your thoughts, man? What you think?
Man, I was heartbroken for many of the NXT fandom because it really did feel like they were in the corner sternly for Jada Parker. And, just the way the crowd accepted her when she walked out, I thought for just a smidge, just a little bit, man, like this is her night. This is where she's going to kind of, stake her claim as the women's NXT champion. And, for her, what hurt me the most is for her to take the pin out of all of them in the ring. Yeah. She took the pin, and it's like she fell on the sword again. She took the L again. And, she really is over with the crowd. And I feel like the crowd is leaning into her. But when you have such a talent like Stephanie Vaquer, and then, and I think the problem also is the fact that NXT has so much talent in the women's division. When you talk about Jordan Grace, when you talk about a Julia, when you talk about Jada Parker, Lash Legend, Soul Ruka, Lonnie, like you can go on and on and on. And Stephanie Vaquer, and she's, like, what are you going to do? Like, everybody can't have the belt. Everybody can't be champion. So, it kind of just, it hurts a little bit because Jada, she has been, putting in work, especially when it comes to these PLEs. She's showing you she's ready for the big time. And you know who she reminds me of in a way, and we'll get to that, in a minute, I'm sure. But Javon Evans, where, they're young, they're raw, but they're so good, and they just have so much talent. But the match itself was great. I thought all four women did a phenomenal job. They all had their spots. They all delivered. It just, like I said, the only part about that hurt me was Jada took the pin, and, I hated to see that. But then again, it was like, who's going to take the pin? Who else could take this pin? Like, how else could you have done it? I don't know. And, but also from this could come another story. And again, it could be a Hank and Tank thing where you're watching this happen and you're watching the beginning of an ascent for Miss Parker all the way to the top. And I hope that's where it goes because she deserves it, man. This is the second PLA for sure that she's put on an A1 banger of a match and definitely worthy of being NXT's homegrown talent champion.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's the thing too. She was the only homegrown talent. That's why I was like, man, if anybody's gonna win it, it's gotta be Miss Parker. But it's okay. I'm not gonna be mad about it. I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna tear. I'm not gonna be a man that's gonna be in his feelings because I could. I honestly could. I should. Because I just think, man, the potential that Jada Parker's got, man, I think is next level. And I think it's the same thing, just like how I feel about Javon Evans, man. I think just like you were saying, Heartbreak Prince, I think they have natural raw potential. They have natural raw talent where I think they're really good on the mic, like naturally really good on the mic. And you want to capitalize on that. I just feel like when you got people that can really talk naturally, to have the natural charisma do that, I feel like you gotta take them and not maybe not put a jetpack to their back and shoot them up to the moon like Cameron Grimes, but maybe
not
to the point where, you know what I'm saying?
Shout out Cameron Grimes.
Yeah, shout out to you, Cameron Grimes. You are still going to the moon. But I mean, I think like people like Jada and somebody like Javon, like people like that, I feel like they gotta get something. If you ain't gonna give them that main card, that main title yet, give them that mid card. We got to see them doing something because seeing them without the title sometimes, like man, like just seeing maybe if we seen. I'm not gonna lie, if we seen Jada Parker with a North American title on NXT Championship. I know for a fact them promos will go crazy. The promos will go crazy, and the storylines will probably be hot. So
Yeah, and
we'll
I
see what
agree
happens.
because like I said, I can't say it enough. You can tell by the crowd they are buying in, and they want to see Jada. They want to see her at the top of something. Whether it's Women's North American champion or NXT champion. I'm more in the corner of NXT champion because I think she's really at that level. But
Yeah.
talk about being at a level.
Ah,
We're gonna go. I mean, we talking levels above Roman Reigns caliber levels above.
come on, man.
Give it to
Y'all
him,
know
me.
what it was. You
Give it
know
to him.
what it was. It was Trick Willy Wonka, the young OG, and Oba, the ruler. Man, I'm not gonna lie. This was a banger. This was, I mean, A1, and this is quoting the Heartbreak Prince. This is an A1 banger of a match. I mean, when you talk about
I put
something
that
that
on
had,
everything.
come on now. That had man, there was so much heat to this match. And by heat, I mean fire. By heat, I mean fuego. By heat, I mean something that you can't touch because it's so hot. By heat, I'm talking about something that gives you so much of a burn that you might have to go to the hospital for a few days because that's how hot this match was. That's how
Cook me.
crazy this
Cook.
match was. Okay? Hell, you seen what this match was. Hell, you know what this match was. Hell. And you know what else? These men were going coast to coast, post to post. Stop playing with the young OG. Stop playing with Trick Willy Wonka. Stop playing with Obafemi. The ruler. They went off, man. They went crazy. This was such a bang of a match. And honestly, so many times when I thought Javon had this, I said, Jesus Christ. I mean, the spots. I got up so many times for so many crazy spots and moves that he was doing. I mean, Trick Willy Wonka hitting a good little front flip. I said, oh, this is crazy. Look at this. Trick going crazy. Now, what I loved, I think one of my favorite parts of the match, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people might have felt this same way, was Oba trying to grab the ref. Oba trying to pull the ref in, and the ref actually kicked Oba off, and Oba sold that.
I said, yo, no. This is the first time I've seen a ref attack a wrestler.
That's what I'm saying. And it's never done. But the one time it happens, and who does it happen to? The ruler. And you know what else? The ruler made it look good. I tell you, man, the ruler know how to sell and do whatever he does best. Because, man, that was a banger. Now, Trick Willy Wonka, not gonna lie, a couple of times I thought my man was out of place, out of pocket. I was like, what is Trick Willy Wonka doing? But, I mean, there was a couple of times when I thought, oh, what if he does sneak this win? What if he does get the title back? What does that mean for Trick Willy Wonka? I don't know. But he didn't. When I think so now, I think he's definitely going to that main roster. I think it's Trick's time to go to the main roster, but I sometimes fear because me and Heartbreak Prince, we talked about this before about Trick Willy Wonka. I think he's got the ability. I think he's got the aura on him. I think the only problem is when he does a promo, he goes hot the whole way, beginning, middle, and it's always at that last few words at the end, he'll stumble. And Trick, I need you to get on this now. I need you to work on this now before you go to the main roster. I need you to get that finish right. Because it is okay how you start. Sometimes you might have a messed up start. You might even have a messed up middle part, but you got to finish strong. Roderick Strong, baby. So I need you to get that on point, Trick Willy Wonka. When you get to that main roster, can't wait to see you there. Again, y'all gave a 10 out of 10 banger of a match. Heartbreak Prince, what are your thoughts, man? What you think?
Bro. Man, I couldn't help but think CM Punk, Seth Rollins, and Roman Reigns. They have to deliver tonight because we're talking about these triple threats. And these three men right here put on a match for the ages, and it felt right. Everything that took place in it felt right. The spots were right. The moves were right. The setting was right. And the outcome was right. And I have to commend these three gentlemen here for being able to put together a match and a story the way that they did it, where it truly was touch and go in many of those matches. I mean, because for a minute, Javon was going bounce sanity. I mean, he was doing reversals on different moves from the ruler. He put the ruler down at least 3 or 4 different times in a row of different reversals that were just insane. And I'm like, how is he doing this? Like, what is happening? And where is Trick? And like, what is he doing? And it just, there was so much energy. I mean, that's all I can keep saying, y'all. That's all I can keep saying is the energy, because it was so unreal when it came to the way that these wrestlers performed tonight, or today. I keep saying tonight, but today in Stand and Deliver. I mean, I have to commend them. I don't know how much Sean and them played a hand in putting together this match, but they did a phenomenal job. And then to see the ruler do what he does best and just rule. Ooh. I mean, I love it, man. And just it just was right, man. That's all I can keep saying. Like it just was right. And it was a time though in there where it really did feel like Javon was getting ready to take this and getting ready to be the new NXT champion. And so, but again, for it to change the way it did, or the back and forth, the way it happened, because there was also a time in there with Trick. He came in there and gave a couple of Trick knees and all that kind of stuff. And I was thinking, oh, well, maybe this is going to be Trick's time. I mean, and that's what you want in a match like this. You want this back and forth. You want this doubt to be in there. Like, okay, is it his turn? Oh, maybe it's his turn. Or is it the ruler? Is he going to maintain? And they did, man. They delivered. And I'm just, hey, shout outs to them. Shout out to Oba for just, being the ruler that he is. And yeah, I mean, it was a good match, man. A1 banger. If it's hard, strut? Eric. It's that strut, and my man strutted all the way down to the ring, all the way down. I said, "Go ahead." I know Oba feeling good, and the crowd was into it. I mean, it was good, man. It felt good, and that's why I say it's hard, because when you think about just a quick pop in of each one of these, like this was the card, and this is what we had to work with tonight or today. And I gotta know, man, what was your favorite? I'll give you 2. What were your favorite 2 matches of the night? What were your 2 matches of the night? Let's say one women's, one men's match that you will pick as your A1 banger.
Okay, this is tough, man, because I think I'm gonna do the men's first, because I feel like that's easier for me right now. I feel like if I'm talking about for the men's, I'm gonna definitely say that triple threat match, hands down. That was a 10 out of 10 match right there. That was a perfect triple threat match. I mean, honestly, when you talk about triple threats, this is one that delivered. This is how you do it, and I love what they did. For the women's, it's so tough. It is so tough because the Fatal 4-Way match was so crazy. Like, I love the spot Stephanie Valkyrie doing her moves. I mean, she did her move to every single person. And by the way, one thing I noticed, Charmel was right behind Booker T. So Booker T couldn't go crazy like he normally would.
Oh, but, yes, man.
He said he'd be working. That's what he said. Charmel, no shit. He'd be working. But it's tough, man. That Fatal 4-Way was a banger. But I think I'm going to have to go with that ladder match and Soul Rookie getting the dub. I think that's what I'm going with, man. I think when I look at everything, I truly didn't know who was going to win it. I was so torn. It looked like Lonnie was going to get it. At one point, I almost thought Izzy Dane had it. But overall, I loved this match. I had the most fun. I think this was one match where I got up and jumped out of my seat so much because of the spots that was going on, because of what was going on. And I think, yeah. So I'm going to definitely have to go with the ladder match and the triple threat. What about you, man? What you think?
For me, I'm in the same boat. I got 3 bodies, 1 soul. That's my woman. That's my woman's match right there. 3 bodies, 1 soul, and she, they delivered on this, man. They really did put together a phenomenal match, and I was so happy to see Sol Ruka win the Women's North American Championship. I mean, the scream I let out in my room as I was watching this was just unreal to be a grown man. But I couldn't help it, man. Hey, you know how I feel about Soul and that Soul Snatcher, and to get it off the ladder, and then for her to double down on it. I mean, it was just A1 chef's kiss. And then, it was hard for a minute. I really felt like the match that sung to me tonight was this thing here with Tony D, because you know how I feel about the family and Tony D, and then to have this extra story built in where Stacks actually betrayed, the boss, the underboss actually betrayed the boss. But I can't take it away from this right here. And for the match of the night for the men's NXT championship, gotta give it to the ruler. I gotta give it to Trick. I gotta give it to Javon Evans. That was definitely a match that I could watch again and just be thoroughly entertained. So shout out to everybody on the card for standing and deliver, because they truly did bring the fire, the heat, the passion, and the desire, and they delivered big time on this PLE.
Yeah, man. Yeah, they definitely did. I don't think there was a match that truly disappointed when I look at this card. Of course, I can say the things I'm about to say about seeing the Meta Girls, but besides that being the case, I think 9 times out of 10, I'm gonna say this one was a banger. And again, WrestleMania 41, night 1, y'all gotta follow up. Y'all gotta follow up. I'm not gonna lie, because already, even SmackDown, y'all had a couple of misses. Now, first of all, we don't know. Whoa, actually, we do know now. We know now, unfortunately, that the Street Profits will be defending their tag titles next week in a TLC match. Now, I don't know why we said we was going to do it on SmackDown, but apparently Rey Mysterio looked like he was injured last night. So it's a possibility that we will be seeing Dragon Lee going up against El Grande Americano. We'll see. Do I think that was a match that should have been scrapped? Yes. A match that we could have put on night 1 to start off, with heat and a banger would have been that TLC match. But hey, I am not the man that's booking it. And some people also said maybe, you got to think about it. A match like that does take a solid 30 to 45 minutes. But again, if you're the WWE, you make time. You paid for that time. So why don't we have that time to put on a banger of a match like that? Yeah, we got the street fight with Damian and Drew, but we all want Drew to win. But if you wanted to put something on that would have been a banger, it would have been that TLC match. Why? Because you did a ladder match in August with DIY and the Profits, and that already showed you what these men was doing. So I don't know why, again, we are pushing this tag team champion, should I say, to after Mania. But you know what? I'll tell you this. Profits better not lose. Y'all better do no joke to where it's just SmackDown after Mania. Oh,
Profits
now
better
anything happens. You better not do that. Because I'm going to tell you right now, the only way I will respect it, because I won't. I won't. The only way I'll be okay is if you threw Melo Don't Miz in the mix and gave them the titles. Now, I'm not saying that's what I want, but that's the only thing I would accept. But I will still not accept it. Why? Because the Profits should always have the champions. I don't know what makes it look like they shouldn't, but the Profits got it all. I've said this before. Montez, superstar. Dogs, now looking more of a superstar. But I just don't get it. I don't understand. You have something that had a story, something you've been building up. We're not putting this on the main card. That's a problem. That's a problem. But, I'm not going to sit there and overshadow NXT. That was just something I just want to talk about. I had to get that off my chest real quick, Heartbreak Prince. But you go ahead and talk your talk, man.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. The Profits, should be up, and they should be up on the card, especially when you talk about WrestleMania and the fact that they are your tag team champions. It's kind of criminal what's taking place with them. But for the last few minutes before we go off and let people start to prepare and get ready for their WrestleMania Night 1. I
Mhm.
want to know from you, what after watching Stand and Deliver and seeing the show that they put on today, do you think WrestleMania Night 1 can deliver or be better than what we just witnessed with NXT Stand and Deliver? And if so, what do you think is going to be the thing that puts it over?
Um, Man, I feel like if it's gonna be a couple of things that's gonna get it over. Um, Jay and Gunther. I think that's gonna be one of the first ones that's gonna get the people going crazy. That's definitely gonna be later on in the night, of course, because they're gonna have that visual with all the lights and everything going crazy for Jay Uso just eating it up. Um, but I think the one that's going to have a lot of people talking, definitely probably going to be that triple threat. I would have said Naomi and Jade, but this triple threat, everybody's talking about like what's Seth going to do, what's Roman going to do, what's going to happen when Paul Heyman's there with CM Punk. So I think that is going to be the one that's going to maybe be a little bit better, only because we've seen this story, and I think people want to see where is this story going to go. Seth has said a lot of stuff that it sound very such, it's what's best for business, all this stuff. So I question to see what's going to happen with that. I do think Seth might win this. That might set something up for Cody and John Cena on night 2, possibly. I've been saying this. That's what I'm starting to kind of think. But I think that triple threat match is going to be one that's going to, if it does, I think if we're asking about it, I think that would be the one that might outshine everything else.
Yeah. So for me, it's simple. I feel like this Jey Uso and Gunther match has to deliver. I think that is going to be the match that can really like carry the night for WrestleMania 41. I mean, I know we got the superstars of the Seth Rollins, CM Punk, and the OTC. I
Mhm.
know that's a big thing, but for me, it's WrestleMania and a championship match, the quality of this with Jay and Gunther and the story that they've been telling and how they can get in the ring and go and finally answer the question of can Jay overcome Gunther and deliver a banger. I think that's probably the match that I'm waiting for the most and the match that I want to see the most and the match that I think can really elevate this WrestleMania 41 night 1 card, because night 2 I do feel is a little bit better card when it comes to the matches that they have going. But the energy that I felt today from Stand and Deliver, I'm hoping I get that same energy from WrestleMania Night 41 from their undercard matches, all the way up, particularly to what I think should have really just been the main event, which was Jey Uso and Gunther. Because could you imagine
Oh,
WrestleMania 41 ending with the crowd yeeting, like just going bananas?
I just feel like it makes the
That
most
was
logical sense.
that would have been the perfect way to take it off the air for night 1. And we're not going to get that because we have, we got the OGs, we got the Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns and CM Punk. That's going to be taking us off. But I felt like that match should have been the last match to take us off, because I do think this is the night that Jay goes over, and I think the crowd is going to just be nuts. So
Yeah. Yeah, man. It's gonna be looking good. It's gonna be looking good, man. But we talked about a lot of great things that happened at NXT Stand and Deliver, and this week is far from over. We got a lot to talk about that's gonna be happening very soon, within the next couple of hours and tomorrow. So make sure y'all follow all of our socials. Facebook, we on that. Instagram, we on that. X, we on that. TikTok, we on that. Make sure y'all follow us, man. We are always dropping content and giving y'all everything that y'all need the exclusive way. And the only way we do it, you know what
I
I'm saying?
like it. I like it.
So, as always, I'm your humble host, your man, your myth, your legend, Eric Knight. And we had the one man and the only man that can check you into the Heartbreak Hotel, the Heartbreak Prince
NXT.
himself. Because we are the exclusive Knights, and we always make sure that we push to be the best there
Best
is, the
there
best
is,
there
the
was,
best there
and the
was,
best there ever will be.
best there ever will be.
And always make sure that your nights will
Will
never
never
be the same.
be the same. Shout out, Mr. Exclusive. Thanks for popping in.
Hey, you already know it.